Hello everyone and welcome! Today I'm working with a very ethereal and pretty hybrid named Silksong. She's a Silkwing-Seawing hybrid and her colors are just so perfect. So a lot of my designs I work from a mood board for inspiration, but for Silksong I actually just worked off a color palette. I wanted to try really pushing myself by working with a lot less to start off with, and just using a color palette by itself forced me to be more creative. It's nice to try that kind of experiment and see good results like this. Back when I started this series, I don't think I could have done a design off of just a color palette. So I think I've grown as an artist, and that's really nice to see. Anyways, I didn't fully stick with the exact colors from the color palette, but they were a starting point for the drawing, and that's okay. They were meant to be a jumping off point that I would use to get my design going. I used a palette generator for the colors. You can find them on the internet for free, they're all over the place. And I just screenshotted the palettes and saved the ones that I liked. I definitely want to do a few more designs using only a base color palette because this turned out pretty good. Anyhow, like I said, Silksong is a Silk Sea hybrid. I almost named her Glowworm, but I thought Silksong sounded prettier, and I wanted her to come off as very attractive. So, Silksong it is. Silksong is a friendly, talkative dragon, soft and accepting of most everyone she meets. She is the youngest daughter of a traveling merchant. Her father, a Seawing, travels between the two continents regularly. Silksong, along with a few other dragons, journeys with her father, helping him find deals on his goods and new customers to sell to. Her congenial nature makes it easier for her to make sales than her father, who's a grizzled, scarred old soldier from the Great War. Silksong tries to avoid confrontation. Generally, she's happy to go with the flow. She can be a little nervous at times in situations where other dragons are arguing or shouting. Luckily, her father usually takes care of any of that kind of trouble. It's not that she can't stand up for herself. Silksong is just happier and more comfortable when everyone gets along. Dragons tend to be a little on the grumpy side, but it seems like Silksong never is. She also has a keen eye for finely made things. She can pick out the best woven tapestries, the most delicately worked metal, the finest cuts of gems. She's got good taste and is attentive to details, which are good skills for a merchant to possess. In her spare time, Silksong loves to weave her own tapestries. She inherited her mother's ability to produce silk, and having so much experience in textiles and art, Silksong loves to create her own works in her spare time. She never sells her own crafts, though. She spends her entire life attaching prices to things. For Silksong, her own art is impossible to price or sell. She gives it away to friends or interesting dragons as she comes across them, without any particular rhyme or reason. She loves chocolate and is trying to introduce it to Pyria one trip at a time. So far it's slow going, but Silksong is determined to bring it over the sea, if only so that she has access to it no matter what continent she's living in. Coffee, however, can stay in Pantala as far as Silksong is concerned. She hates the bitter drink. I think Silksong's design is very elegant, so I wanted to give her a smooth, sweet temperament to match. She's the type of dragon who makes others want to be better people, just because she's so kind and even-tempered. Anyhow, I love how the dark blue-gray base of her color works with that pale green. It's not quite lime-colored, and it's not quite moss-colored, but it's a really cool shade and it pops thanks to the difference in value. But the colors aren't so far apart that it actually clashes. It's bold without being stark and contrasting. All that to say, this is exactly why I wanted to do a design with the color palette as soon as I saw it. I had a little trouble picking tribes that would match the colors, to be honest. I kind of toyed with doing a rain-night combo or a rain-silk combo, but I'm really glad I picked sea-silk in the end, because I don't think that's the combo that you'd expect at first glance, and sometimes I like to be a little unexpected. So Silksong does have some glowing scales and she can breathe underwater, but she doesn't have the full set of glowing scales. Also, she's a terrible swimmer. She inherited her mother's slim physique, and even if she doesn't have silkwing wings, they are small, and she flounders like a wet cat in the water. Also, I headcanon that silkwings have very strong senses because of their antennae, but also just in general, I think they're very attuned to their surroundings. Being underwater is hard for Silksong because it feels like total sensory overload, and it freaks her out like immediately. So even though she can't drown, she avoids the oceans as if she could. Honestly, the best thing about this design for me is the drippy neon look of those green markings down her spine and legs. It looks like pale acid slowly eating through stone, or something like that. It's just kind of out of this world. Like I said, I almost named her Glowworm, but I also almost named her Ghost because she has that kind of pale, ethereal look to her with all those flowy markings. If you want to make this gorgeous girl your own, feel free to head over to my DeviantArt and check out my post there, where Silksong is up for auction until noon tomorrow. I usually auction off the designs from this series just because I'd have so many characters otherwise, and they would just gather dust, and that's sad. But, oh, she's a pretty girl. I'd like to keep her. Anyways, if you like this video, I have plenty of other Let's designs, so feel free to check those out. And don't forget the links in the description, which can take you to my store, my Patreon, and my DeviantArt. Thank you all for watching, and please have a blessed day.
We don't need no miracle. I think we've seen it all. Just make the call. I'll go running over. We don't need no miracle. It's unconditional. Just make the